yet another discussion on Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I see that some people are joining first time. Please raise your hand if you are joining first time, anyone in person or on Zoom. Okay. Some of you are joining first time. And anyone is new on this one? Zoom? Joining first time? Put in the chat yes, or you can just raise your hand. Okay. So welcome everyone, and then let's get started with the prayers. You can share the screen for those who are joining us. So before we begin, we'll just chant some prayers. So you can just fold your hands and chant along with me, and then we'll begin our discussion. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Bracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashya Dadesh Dharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again we started our Bhagavad Gita series, and we are discussing the intro before we really introduce you to the systematic study. And we have some thoughts and ideas discussed over a period of time with the team. So we'll tell you that what is the program coming up. But let's begin with our discussion with some introduction about Bhagavad Gita. So I assume that many of you already know about Bhagavad Gita. And let us quickly recap what we discussed last time, because some of you were not there, so you will get some heads up on like what we discussed. So we are discussing about the importance of Bhagavad Gita, which has been explained in Gita Mahatmya, the glories of Bhagavad Gita, which explains that there are so many different types of scriptures. But this verse particularly explains Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. People are confused. There's so many different books, different scriptures, which one to read, how to read, and all of that. So for all of those people, all the confusion is resolved here by this verse. It says, if you want to read just one book, one scripture, Ekam Shastram, then that book should be Devaki Putra Gitam. Is the song of Devaki Putra, Krishna. And that is what is the song of God, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad means Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, and Gita comes from the song, Geet. So that is resolved. One book if you want to read, read Bhagavad Gita. Then there's so many different gods. Actually speaking, when we read further, then you understand there are not so many gods, there is only one God. But in general, people think, okay, there's so many gods, then whom to worship? So it says, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. If you want to worship just one God, then here is a God, which is Devaki Putra, Krishna. Then there's so many mantras, which mantra to chant, and everybody says you chant this mantra, that mantra, confusion again. So it says, Eko mantras tasya namani yani. If you want to just stick on to just one mantra, then tasya namani yani. His name. Whose name? Devaki Putra. That is Krishna's name. Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So just chant one mantra, and that is sufficient enough. And we can back up this understanding with so many scriptural references that in this modern age, this is the mantra recommended. Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nastev Gatirannita. There's no other way. In Kali Yuga, in this modern age, this Harinam, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only recommended process. Okay, and then what duty we should do? So many people say so many things. So it says Eka Karya Tasya Seva. So serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So we started with that discussion, and then also we discussed about different analogies to understand that why it is so very important to go through Bhagavad Gita. As we often say that Bhagavad Gita is the manual of life. Anytime you buy any gadget or any product, you should understand how to utilize it, right? So you have to read the manual. So now we have got this human form of life, very, very important, very rare. So how to best utilize this human form of life? You have to read the manual. And Bhagavad Gita is the manual for the human form of life. Another example that we discussed, so I'm just recalling all that so it gets freshened up. Or maybe I think I should ask the people that what we discussed. I can recall easily. People should recall, that is more important. What is one more analogy that we used? Anything comes to your mind from the last session? Some analogies, some examples. Yes, that's a good analogy. So Bhagavad Gita is also like a map, like we all use the Google map, right, to reach the destination. But this is a very unique map, which not only just route you to the destination, before it route you to the destination, it sets your destination. So when you read Bhagavad Gita, you understand that what is the destination, what is the goal of life, right? So first it explains and not it doesn't leave you there. Then he says, okay, how to reach there. So it is very, very important that we reach the right destination in this human form of life. Yes, that's a good example and good recall. Any other example? Another one, nice example we discussed. Okay, milk and cow, yes. Yeah. So also, Sarva Upanishado Gavo, Dogda Gopala Nandana. So all the scriptures are like the cow. But what you need is, the essence of the cow is the milk. So Krishna is milking this cow, all the Upanishad. And then Sudhir Bhokta, this Arjuna is relishing this. So we understand that you can't read all the scriptures, so many Upanishads, so many Vedas and so many things are there. What we need is the essence, like the milk. That milk is Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is milking this cow of all the scriptures. Yes, that is a good example. What else? I'm waiting for one specific example.
Like an ocean, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Like an ocean wherein you deep dive, you find the real.
Yes. So we discussed about Bhagavad Gita is like an ocean. So in the ocean, different people can get benefited differently. Sometimes people go to the beach, right? Those who are scared of going very close to the water, they stay little far off, and little water touch their ankle, they feel satisfied. Oh, we are happy. They take some selfies and then they post. So that's one way, going to the beach and stay away. Some people, those who know little swimming, they will jump into the water and they will swim and then enjoy the water. That is going little more inside. But there are some few people that trained and they're very rare and experts. They can dive deep into the ocean. And those who can dive deep into the ocean, they can get the access to some gems and jewels which is found deep within the ocean. So this Bhagavad Gita is like that. It's the ocean. So it depends on, you want to stay on the beach a little far off and just once in a while come to the temple, listen something and that's all and be happy. Or you really want to jump into the water, you want to read daily, understand, take out something. Or gradually you become so trained that you can dive deep into the ocean. So that should be the goal. In the beginning we might be standing far off, but gradually you should be trained enough to dive deep into the ocean, so that you can get all this jewels and gems, which is like unlimitedly found in Bhagavad Gita. So that was also another example. Okay, one more example.
PG is like an yoga shastra. That's the ultimate goal.
Yes, so Bhagavad Gita is also famous as the Yoga Shastra. And we discussed about the yoga. Yoga is all about connection. Right. So we discussed various reasons that why this book is called the Yoga Shastra. One reason was because of the numerical frequency of this word used, yoga, yogi, yunjan, and like that. But apart from that, the core message of Bhagavad Gita is how to connect to the Supreme Lord. And that is yoga. Yoga means the linking process, the connection. So yes, Bhagavad Gita is the book which connects us back to our original source. So this is also known as the Yoga Shastra. Yes, nice. Anybody else wants to give chance to others also? I see there's a lot of people online. Still one example is missing.
It deals with 5 topics.
Yes, that we have to talk today. 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita is like
Map we discussed. Yeah, that we discussed. Map we discussed. Jewel box. Okay, we discussed that also. So one of the Acharya compares Bhagavad Gita with a jewel box. So you see in a jewel box, there is a bottom part, there is a front part, and the middle, there is the jewel is kept very safely. So in the same way, Bhagavad Gita has three sections. The first section, which is Karma Yoga, the first 6 chapters, and the bottom section, which is Gyan Yoga, last 6 chapters, and in the middle, the real jewel is there. And what is that middle 6 chapters? Bhakti Yoga. And that is the real core message of Bhagavad Gita. Many times people say that, oh, Gita means all about Karma Yoga, Karma karo, phal ki ichha mat karo, something like that. But Krishna is basically introducing us to all this Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga for our comparison. Right? It's important that otherwise we'll miss out to understand the value of Bhakti Yoga. If you don't know what is Karma Yoga, what is Gyan Yoga. So, yes, that is also another example to explain Bhagavad Gita. Okay, one more example that I discussed was, which I think many of you are missing, is sometimes we see that some people who externally looks very strong and stout, but suddenly they are diagnosed with some terminal disease, some advanced stage of cancer or something like that, right? So that is caught only when you go through the scan. So in the same way, we might feel like everything is going good, life is great, we are enjoying, everything is wonderful. But when you go through this scan, this Bhagavad Gita, then you realized, oh my God, like already some infection is building up inside. Kam, Krodh, Moho, Lobh, Mad, Matsarya, lust, anger, greed, jealousy, enviousness. These are all the infections which are eating us from within. If we are not careful, first of all, if we are not even diagnosed, you don't know like what's growing within. Cancer is growing within. It will just kill us. So this Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. Just don't go by the externals. That life is all set, life is all good, everything is good job, good family, good house, good car, and everything is going good. So we don't need it. But it is like a scan. You have to go through that. And then when you read Bhagavad Gita, you start to understand, yes, externally everything is great. But there's so many things going within. Right? And it is very, very important that we know what's going within. So with all of that, and then we discussed the 700 verses. Okay, it's a quick surprise test. How many verses Krishna spoke out of 700? 575 verses spoken by Krishna. Okay. And Sanjay spoke how many verses? 42, 32. 41 is the right answer. Sanjay spoke 41 verses and Arjuna spoke how many verses? 83. Yeah. And then one verse was spoken by Dhritarashtra, that is the first verse. And like that put together it is all 700 verses. So, yeah. And as we discussed that the overall theme of Bhagavad Gita is, which is our today's topic, 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita. So you see all the 700 verses, 18 chapters, they are actually focusing on only 5 topics. And these 5 topics are Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal and Karma. Those who are reading Bhagavad Gita or those who are hearing all these sessions and all that, this is the first thing that it should be on your tip of your tongue. You should know that these are the 5 topics. So God, Ishwar, it talks about who is God, what is God, where is God. And then Jiva, Jiva means the living entity, all of us. And then Prakriti, this nature, material nature. And then Kala, the time, eternal time, and then Karma. So we all had to do the karma here in this material world. So it is very interesting to understand that how Jiva means all of us, we are obsessed to exploit the Prakriti. Everybody is trying to exploit in so many different ways. So when the Jiva is obsessed to exploit the Prakriti through various karma. Karma means your activities. So we do a lot of activities just to exploit the nature. Exploit means you want to enjoy in so many ways without consideration whether this is the right way to enjoy or not. So when Jiva is obsessed to exploit the Prakriti through the karma under the Kala, time is ticking, right? And that is called bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. And that result in chinta. So this is very important to understand from Bhagavad Gita. So when Jiva is obsessed to exploit the Prakriti with his karma under the influence of Kala, and that is called bhoga, and the tendency of bhoga means to enjoy independently without consideration, that result in chinta. And now, how much chinta? Little chinta. Chinta means like worries. How much chinta? So Krishna explains in 16th chapter. Chintam aparimayam cha pralyantam pashritaha. Chinta is so much that life is filled with chinta aparimayam, like which cannot be measured. So much chinta. And it is still the pralaya. Till we die, people are just constantly in anxiety. So it has been identified in Bhagavad Gita. What is the root cause of our anxiety? Root cause of our anxiety is this tendency to enjoy, this bhoga, right? And it is coming from the tendency or obsession to exploit the nature through our activities under the influence of Kala. It becomes bhoga, it becomes chinta. But if you want to get out of this chinta, the solution is given is chintan. You understand, oh my God, something is going wrong here. I'm doing this, there's so many things I'm doing, but my chinta is not going away. My anxieties are not going away. And then what happens? You look up to the Ishvara. Say, please help me. And that guidance comes. And Ishvara guide, the God guides, that you need to do the chintan if you want to come out from the chinta. Right? The age-old saying, they say that there is only little difference between chitta and chinta. What is the difference? One dot. If you write in Hindi or Sanskrit. Chitta and chinta. So they say the chinta is equal to chitta. Chitta is like your funeral fire. Funeral fire, what happens? Actually, it is more dangerous. And the funeral fire, what happens when the person dies? He is put under the fire and he burns in one go. But chinta is something which burns you every day, every moment. Right? So come out from this anxiety. Like you see in this modern age, it is very relevant. People are in constant anxieties. The chinta is there. The solution is given is chintan. So we should look up to the Ishwar. The Jiva should look up to the Ishwar and understand that the goal of life is not this bhoga. Goal of life is not this sense enjoyment. Goal of life is seva. Right? So it is very, very relevant that these 5 topics so nicely it explains that what we are doing, what we are stuck here, and what is the cause of our anxiety, and what is the solution of our anxiety. You see, this Arjun, when though he was very skilled, he was the expert archer of his time. You look at his success record, which was like 100%. Very, very talented. But even that Arjun also, though you see that few features of Arjuna was his swabhav. Swabhav means his nature. Naturally he was a Kshatriya. Not everybody has the Kshatriya spirit. So that was his nature. So his swabhav was nature. His training was also Kshatriya. His swabhav was Kshatriya. His training was also Kshatriya. Right? And then his service, his engagement, his profession was also Kshatriya. It's a very, very rare combination that this is your nature, this is your training, and the same is your job also. It's a perfect combination to find in this world. It won't happen generally. Your nature might be different, and your training might have been different. Your parents put you in some school, college. You go with the flow. Okay, engineering, everybody is doing engineering, let us do. Without even considering like whether that is your nature or not. But you do that. And then you are forced to get into all that corporate job and all that rat race, and it might not be your nature. So there is so much of, this thing, mismatch. But you see, the Arjuna is a very unique personality whose swabhav, whose nature was Kshatriya, his training was Kshatriya, his profession was also a Kshatriya. Can you imagine? Like, it's such a perfect combination. And despite all of that, he was experiencing this anxiety. So you see, if you have everything perfectly got in your life, despite all of that, there is no guarantee that you will be free from the anxieties. This is the nature of this material world. And the cause of anxiety has been explained, as I said, this bhoga, this enjoyment, the tendency for enjoyment, and that comes in so many different forms. The people have the desire to consume. Consume means whatever I see, I want to enjoy. It is for my enjoyment. That tendency. Anything you see, you want to enjoy. So this is called desire to consume. Then there is a desire to control. Like everybody should listen to me. My wife should listen to me. My kids should listen to me. Everyone around, all my friends should listen to me. I want to be like boss. You see, this is the nature. So there is desire to consume, there desire to control, there is a desire to convince. That whenever I say something, everybody should nod your head and saying yes. What you say is right. You are great. But that is not the reality. So there is desire to consume, there is desire to control, there is desire to convince, there is desire to compete. Alright. All of that is going on, and that is creating anxiety in this world. See, but what we understand from Bhagavad Gita is that we have all those desires to consume, to control, to convince, to compete unlimitedly. I want to enjoy unlimitedly. I want to control unlimitedly. I want to convince unlimitedly. But then Bhagavad Gita explains that though you have the unlimited desires, but our abilities are very, very limited. If you want to enjoy, how much you can enjoy? You can desire to enjoy unlimitedly. Your favorite food comes, say for example, rasgulla. That's your favorite. How many you can eat? The question. You can eat 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, the same enjoyment becomes the pain, misery. Somebody try to push you to eat more, that time like you probably call the cops. This person is trying to kill me. Alright. So this is what is our limitation to enjoy, to consume. So what we understand from Bhagavad Gita is our desire to do all of this is unlimited, but our abilities are very, very limited. Right? So this is very, very important point here to understand that how Krishna brought one interesting paradigm here. So Bhagavad Gita is all about paradigm shift, the different perspective. So what is happening in Arjuna's case, as we discussed, his swabhav is of that of Kshatriya, his training is that of Kshatriya, his profession is that of Kshatriya. Such a rare combination, and is put into this anxiety. It confuses. And that is how the Bhagavad Gita begins, Dharma sammud chetaha. That Krishna, I am confused about my duties, what should I do? Now this is very interesting to note here. What was the confusion? As being a Kshatriya, his duty was to fight. Kshatriya's duty is just to fight. You are already in the battlefield. Everybody has gathered there. You are already know like what you are supposed to do, but he got confused. So we need to understand why that confusion arises. It's very interesting to note this all confusion about the duty comes because of the misidentification. When you're confused about your identity. If you're confused about your identity, what I'm supposed to do? As being a Kshatriya, I'm supposed to fight. But I have to fight with my family members. Immediately there's another identity also pops up. What is that identity? He's thinking I'm a Kshatriya, I should fight. But I'm standing in front of my own grandfather. So there is another identity. Oh, I'm his grandchild. How can I kill my own grandfather? Drona is my teacher. How can I shoot the arrow on my teacher? So there is an identity clash now. You see here? So one identity is my grandfather, my teacher. One identity is I am a Kshatriya, I should fight. Now which identity to pursue? And that created a big confusion. And that is when he says, Dharma sammud cheta, I don't know like what to do, which one to do. Shall I kill or not kill? If I don't kill, then I'm not doing my Kshatriya duty. If I kill, then what about my duties as a grandchild? So you see that despite all this perfect combination of Arjuna, this Krishna introduced a little change, little confusion in the identity. And even such an expert Arjuna got confused. What to say about people like us? We are constantly confused. What to do? Every moment we like keep thinking what to do, how to do. All right. So this is the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. What do you think, like what is the solution for this kind of confusion? Of course, I'm sure like most of us won't come across this kind of contradictions in life. Our contradiction is like very, very teeny, very childish. which car to buy, this one or that one. That might be your confusion at times. What to order in the restaurant when you go, and there's a lot of, in the menu you see like there are 100 items, and you take like 10 minutes to read all that item and then start analyzing which one to eat. This is the kind of decisions we take in our life, or what shirt or what jeans or what phone and what color. None of us, we feel this kind of clashes and conflicts, that shall I do my Kshatriya duty or shall I do my school dharma, like taking care of my relation with the. Yes. So you are saying Arjuna was right on his path. How can I kill my grandfather or my teachers? Right? That is what you are thinking. You are right on your part. What else? Okay. So when Krishna is saying something, but Krishna has not yet said anything, right? That is why he is confused. Any other thought? Anyone, those who are joining us online or offline? Those who are sitting in the back, front, middle. Okay.
At the same time, to the people he didn't want to kill, they were clear on what to do.
So it's like a self-defense. If you don't kill them, you will be killed.
Either way, whatever their psyche was, but they weren't as confused as Arjun. They knew they had to fight their grandchild or their students that they loved very much. But they knew that that was important. So they chose their identity, which one to let take precedence.
So other party, they also knew all that, their relation, but they chose to fight. Then why he is confused? Maybe he is more thoughtful. Other was not that thoughtful.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
1 second, Mataji, hold on. Sorry? Killing the body, soul never dies. Okay. Yes. Mataji, go ahead. Online.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I think it was more like a moral dilemma about what is the end morality of this war purpose.
Okay. So it's about morality. So we can go on talking and analyzing this, that what is the solution for this? So many ways of analyzing it. And what Bhagavad Gita is doing is, it is giving us the different analysis. So it depends on, analysis also depends on the person's intention. How do you want to analyze? Right? Like, take, say for example, Bhagavad Gita talks about the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Bhumirapo, Unalavayu, Kamana, Buddhirevacha, like that. 5 elements are there. So you see, the analysis of Bhagavad Gita is a little different about these 5 elements versus the modern science. Modern science is also analyzing. Like this body is made out of 5 elements. And modern medical science has analyzed it like thoroughly, and they are still doing a lot of research. But their intention is slightly different than what Bhagavad Gita is doing. What is the modern scientist analysis is, they analyze the body to understand when body breaks down, something goes wrong with the body, how to fix it. That is their analysis. If you are sick, what is the medication, what is the treatment, blah blah, and all of those things. But you see, the Vedic analysis is slightly different. It doesn't talk about all that. That we can do, figure out. But Vedic analysis is all about what is there within this body which is making it animate. What is the difference between a living body and a dead body? Same body. All earth, water, fire, air, ether, all 5 elements are there even in a dead body. So the person, for example, a person is here standing, talking nicely, very animated. Suddenly he dies. Externally speaking, all the 5 elements as it is there. But analysis, Bhagavad Gita is saying, what is the difference? Why this person is no more animate? Why is not responding? You even put that person on the fire, he doesn't respond. This is the analysis of Bhagavad Gita. And it identifies there is something within this body which makes this body very animate. And that is identified as the consciousness. And consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So that is Bhagavad Gita's analysis. versus what is our analysis. So we are all trying to analyze the situation, that what Arjuna should do in this situation. Kshatriya dharma or Kul dharma? What dharma? Different people, one set of people will say that, oh no, it should be, you should try to be more moral and thoughtful, and yes, all great. But what Krishna did at this point is, he introduced something, another dimension. He says, yes, these identities are important, but they're all relative identities, temporary identities. But all of us, we all have an eternal identity, which most of us, we miss out, and Arjuna also missed out. So what Krishna said, he introduced him to that eternal identity, which is your constitutional position. And what is that constitutional position? That beyond this body, bodily identities, bodily relations, you have something, your identity, which is beyond the bodily labels, and that is on the level of the soul. So you have to understand that soul is na jayate amriyate va kadachin. Soul never takes birth, soul never dies. So Krishna introduced him to another reality, right? And that resolved his problem. So at the end, after hearing the entire Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, Arjuna says that Karishye vachanam tava. Whatever Krishna you say, I will do. Because I understood everything. So it is very important. We'll always remain in anxiety. We'll always remain confused in this material world if we function on the bodily identities. That is the nature of this world. I'm not saying it is not important. But we should also learn to go beyond this bodily identity. That is your spiritual identity. And what is that spiritual identity? Mama evamsho jeev loke jeev bhuta sanatana. Krishna says, we all are his part and parcel. So when you start functioning on that spiritual identity, then your thought process, your entire perception changes. You think differently. You are not stuck with some bodily identity. You consider that what is important, what Krishna would suggest me in this situation to do, and I should do that. Not about what I like, what you like, and something like that, but more importantly, you take into consideration what Krishna suggests in this situation. So Arjuna's preference was not to fight, right? But Krishna said, no, you should fight. And it's very important to understand another approach of Bhagavad Gita is, it's not very dogmatic. The Bhagavad Gita's approach is not dogmatic. That Krishna says, I am telling you, you fight and kill. Don't ask me anything. Not like that. If that was the approach, then probably Bhagavad Gita would have finished in maybe 6 words, not 6 verses. 6 words. Krishna would have said, I am God, fight and finish. The 6 words. Right? But Krishna took him through all the reason and analysis. That is, so it invites us. So this is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, that its approach is not dogmatic. It is very inviting. It invites us to analyze, to understand, use your reasons, your logic, and then apply what to do. So this has been the Bhagavad Gita's approach. So what we understand from Bhagavad Gita is the root cause of all the anxiety is the change. We don't like change, and there is a reason why we don't like change. Because by nature, as being a soul, we are eternal soul. Eternal means eternal. You are always there as it is. But now we are put into asat. Asat means which is something temporary. We are put into this body which is temporary. It just keeps changing. Which is not your natural. Which is not like your nature, constitutional nature. We are all permanent, eternal beings. So as soon as there is a change, naturally what happens? There is objection. There is a rejection. I don't like the change. We don't accept the change. So there was a change in the identity here for Arjuna. Oh, I thought I am a Kshatriya. But suddenly he realized, oh no, I am not only Kshatriya. I am also the grandchild. What should do? So these material identities are like that only. They always keep changing. But there is an eternal identity which never changes in any situation. Whether you are in this body, you are a young boy, you are an old man, you are Indian, American, black, white, whatever you are, your eternal identity never changes. And that identity has been introduced in Bhagavad Gita as Jivera Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. We are all part and parcel of God. That is what is our original identity. So yes, you can function in this material world on the bodily identities, but ultimately we should learn and transcend ourselves to go to our original eternal identity. And when you start functioning on that you start taking that into consideration in the first place, then a lot of other clashes and conflicts can be resolved very easily. So this is the approach of Bhagavad Gita, right? So this is the nature that change create the crisis and then permanence bring the peace, because that is what is our constitutional position, like that. So this is what is Bhagavad Gita's approach and perception. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, it offers us a lot of things. Number one, Bhagavad Gita offers us the information. So many things that we never heard, we never learned in our school, like this, the body or the soul. Probably we might have heard, but we don't understand what the soul means, and material nature, Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, and all of that. Many times, most of us, we don't understand. So first level is the information. Second level is when you read Bhagavad Gita, then purification happens. You start purifying your consciousness, your conceptions, your perception. And then when you get more purified, gradually it gives you the perception. Like we saw one perception here, that Arjuna is thinking, what should I do? I'm a grandchild or I'm a Kshatriya? But there's another perspective you want to hear. Oh, you are something beyond all of that. You can function on that identity also, that level also. So it gives you the different perspective. So that is why we say Bhagavad Gita doesn't necessarily change your externals. Arjuna's situation was still same. He has to fight. He's in the battlefield. He is confused. And after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he is still in the same place and fight with the same people. So external did not change. So we say that Bhagavad Gita does not change your srishti. It changes your drishti. It doesn't change your externals. It changes your internal perception. And that's a big deal. If you can learn to have the different perspective about the circumstances in life, it's a big achievement. So information, purification, perception, and through those perception, transformation comes. You become a transformed person. How to really act, how to really handle certain situations. How many of you thinks like problems are bad? Honestly, don't try to be philosopher here. People are confused. Invariably, everybody thinks, no, we don't want problem here, right? Don't philosophize this simple statement. We don't want problems in life, right? And we generally, that is how we are trained and we grew, that problems are bad. But actually, Bhagavad Gita gives us a different perspective. Not that all the time problems are bad. Problems can be a stepping stone to the progress. It can give you an opportunity to explore the opportunities. This is a different perspective, right? So our default perception versus Gita's perception, and your whole trajectory might change, right? This is what Krishna is offering through Bhagavad Gita. He is not saying anywhere that if you become my devotee, you read Bhagavad Gita, you chant my name, I'm guaranteeing you no problem will be there in your life. In fact, it is the other way around. Right? Sometimes devotees face more problems because they become more thoughtful. Other time what happens, people are just acting in ignorance. You do any nonsense. Complete ignorance. But when somebody reads Bhagavad Gita, he feels more dilemma. Oh my God, I want to do this, but the Prabhuji is telling in the class, we should not do this. What to do now? So you are more confused now. But now you have some clarity, some guidance. So Gita offers information, purification, perception, transformation, and then through the transformation, there's a lot of protection, right? Because you are rightly informed, you can be protected. Like, think of example, a small child, he's ignorant, he doesn't know anything. He sees something fascinating and he goes and touches that. And what was that fascinating thing? It was fire, which was very glittering. It attracts him. But child is ignorant. He goes and touches. He hurt himself. He harm himself. But adult, he is informed. He knows what is fire. Then he is protected with the knowledge. So Krishna actually, this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita knowledge also give us the protection. It gives us the correction. Correction is much needed. People generally don't want to be corrected. That is a hard thing to accept, but we all need the correction. So Gita corrects us, and also it brings satisfaction in our life. Right? How it brings satisfaction? Any example? Anybody has any experience of some satisfaction through Bhagavad Gita? Any thoughts? Anyone online? Okay, I know. I asked the.
Out of confusion, then we'll automatically get some kind of satisfaction.
Yes, when there is a clarity on certain things, you remain satisfied. Like, think of this example, the definition of success in this material world. How people think what is success? Success means you have some desire, you work hard for that, and if you get that, you are considered. You think yourself, and also people also kind of confirm that, oh, you are successful, you got a great success. So we are thinking success means getting something done is success. But Bhagavad Gita gives a different perspective. If you rely on this definition of success, there will be multiple occasion where you will feel that you are not successful, you are a failure. Because everything you desire and you work hard, not necessarily you get all the time. Some of those things you may get also, but many times there might be failure. So what Krishna is offering, the perspective, karmanyavadikaraste ma phalesu kadachana, ma karma phal heturbhur mate sangostu karmani. It's such a beautiful verse where Krishna is saying, you have the right to perform your duty. You do your best duty, whatever you can do, best efforts you put. But you don't have any control over the results. You can write the exam, but you don't have the control over the results. Alright? So if you start thinking, contemplating so much and you get consumed by what will happen, what if I fail, what if I don't get 90 or 100 or whatever, if you are so much confused about the result, which anyway you don't have the control, then you will end up not performing at your best. So what Krishna is saying, you just focus on your duty. And if you are convinced and you are confident that you have done your duties perfectly well, you are not left any stone unturned, you did your best, whatever you could do, that itself is a success. Beyond that you can't do anything. Right? So success, people think success is in the result. But Krishna is saying success is not in the result. Success is in the efforts itself. If you do the efforts with best of your ability, that itself is a success. So like that, you can be happy and satisfied with all those kind of things, irrespective of whether result comes or not. So like that, so much. So we are talking in the beginning about, picking those jewels. These are all jewels. Like when you read carefully, you analyze, and then you understand that, okay, this is also another way to look at it, right? So like that, it offers a lot of things, and ultimately when we read Bhagavad Gita, finally it offers the attraction towards Krishna. That is the final goal, right? You get equipped with this knowledge, and then you mold your life in such a way that you never forget Krishna. You make Krishna as the center of your life. Whatever you do in this world, you function, but keeping Krishna in center, and that is the ultimate goal of your life. That is what it offers. So this is what is the Bhagavad Gita is offering. So it's a beautiful, as we say, the manual of life. And we all need the guidance in our life, right? Whatever we do, anything, we all need the guidance. So basically there are different ways of taking the guidance and the knowledge. There are different sources. One source is probably the tradition. Like many things we do in our life, which is coming down from the tradition. Like, everybody did like that in my family. My father used to do this. My grandparents were doing this. So from tradition, it is coming probably, you're not putting your head that why you're doing. You are just following the tradition, right? But the point is, these traditions are not always very reliable. Sometimes, there's a lot of superstitions. Oh, they did like that, and I'm also doing like that. Why I'm doing, I don't know. If I'm asking, they also don't know. They're not telling. So some kind of, superstitions comes, and you just follow, blind following. So that is one way of taking some guidance and knowledge, tradition. Another way is culture. We learn from the culture, what kind of culture we are in. Right? There was a culture few decades back when all this cigarette was coming in the market. Right? It was introduced publicly, cigarette smoking. And in those days, people had not realized the ill effects of smoking cigarette. It was a new product in the market. So then all the men were smoking. Then this cigarette companies, they were analyzing and they thought, you know what, we are missing out on 50% of our market. And what was that 50% market? Women. Because it was not portrayed as if women also should smoke, right? So then what they did, like that is their job, right? So they spend a lot of like big money, and then they got all this iconic, some Hollywood stars and all that, and in some tournament, and there are all these stars, and they're standing and smoking cigarette like very thin, sleek, and that was showed as a symbol of heroism. And there was an article there writing that we are lighting the torch of liberation, something like that, all their marketing strategies, and they tap the market. That become the culture. And in no time, it's just a matter of, a decade, it picked up. Now, men, women, everybody is smoking cigarette. That is a culture being created, right? People learn. And anybody who comes to that culture, it is okay to smoke cigarette. What's a big deal? Everybody is smoking cigarette here. Everybody is, drinking. This is the culture. So what happens? People learn from the culture, but it can be very misleading. And so many things in the culture, which is actually misleading. So people learn from the tradition, people learn from the culture, people learn from their own mood. Mood means like, it feels good. I like it, and I want to do it. So if you go by that, like it, that mood, then again there is a problem. That something which you like now, other occasion you may not like it, right? An example. I'll give you some funny example. Just a light example, not take it very seriously, but when a young boy and young girl, they get into affair, day in, day out, they see each other, even while sleeping, eating, whatever, you, me, and like that. In the beginning, everything seems like so wonderful. And they just keep saying, I cannot live without you, right? And then they get married, and the slogan changes. They say, now I cannot live with you, right? So what feels like so good, as a matter of time, it changes. So if you take the guidance based on the mood, that is also not a very reliable source. And another way is the logic. Most of the people fall to this, that okay, I need some logic and reasoning, and it should make sense. But what we should understand, one very important thing is that our faculties are very, very limited. You apply the knowledge based on the information that you apply the logic. Even that information itself is limited. Your ability to apply the logic is also limited. So your overall understanding itself is limited, right? So tradition, culture, mood, logic, so many different sources. Everything is seemingly like they are good. We should do that, but they are not the sole authority to take the knowledge. And that is when the scriptures comes into play. We should take the knowledge and the guidance from the scriptures. Because the scriptures, the books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are said in the scripture, like in those books, and it has been explained, they're called aparushaya. Aparushaya means it is not created by any human. This knowledge is coming down from the God himself. And this is param satyam dhimahi. This is the absolute truth. Unlike our knowledge or logic, which is limited in so many different ways. So this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and scriptures like that, it is the absolute truth, param satya. It may possible that sometime we doesn't really, agree with what is said there, but that is your limitation, your understanding. So this is how it is. So shall we just blindly follow the scriptures? Or how to reconcile it? Because especially in this modern age, people don't want to follow the scriptures blindly. People are too logical now. We already understood the limitation of logic, but does it defy or deny to, or it profess that you just follow blindly? What do you say? How do you follow the scriptures? Under the bona fide guru? Okay. Good answer. What else? So yes, one important thing is to follow the scripture, faith is needed. Everything begins with the faith. It's not only just the scriptures, But anything you do in your life, it needs faith. You go to the college, you get admitted there, it is all based on faith. Because you heard something about it. If you start asking the question day one, when you enter in the college, what is the guarantee that after 4 years you will give me the degree? If somebody asks this question, is there any solution to this question? There's no solution. Is it? This is what is your credibility. If you have faith, then come on. Otherwise, it's okay. No problem. You find some other option. So based on some credibility, some examples, some ideas in the scriptures, it gives us the faith. But again, this faith is not a blind faith. The faith should be reasonable faith. Now, when we say reasonable faith, what it means? Reasonable faith means what? Two aspects to it. Reasonable faith means it should be sensible, number one, and second, it should be verifiable. What is the sensible means? It should make some sense at least, some basic sense. Like think of this example. A person goes to a doctor with some sickness, he says stomachache, something. He goes to the doctor and doctor says, oh really, you have a stomachache? So, we had to amputate your leg. We had to cut your leg. Now this person will be freaked out. He says, but it doesn't make any sense. I have stomachache and as a solution, as a treatment is saying cut his leg. It's not a sensible thing. But if doctor says, okay, you have some problem, maybe some indigestion or some food poisoning or something, why don't you try some anti-acid or something like that? Then it is something sensible thing, right? So it makes sense, okay, let me try this. And also you should be able to verify when you take that process, that medication, the treatment, and then you say, okay, my stomachache is gone. Then it is called verifiable. You verify. So in the same way, what the scriptures are doing is, they're actually, as I said, the approach of scriptures is not dogmatic, it is invitation. So they're inviting us, okay, here is a proposal, we are offering this. You want to try it out? Try it and see if it works for you. And that is the approach Krishna is taking in Bhagavad Gita. He spoke everything, and towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita is saying, Yadachasi Tatha Guru. Krishna did not impose on him anything. Now I told you everything, you follow. He says, Yadachasi Tatha Guru. Whatever you want, you do now. Vimrashyatedana aseshena yatachasi Tatha Guru. He says, now you deliberate, use your intelligence, use your logic. I explained you all those concepts. And then you think yourself and then apply this knowledge. So this is the approach. Right? So this is how Bhagavad Gita is actually giving us the promise. First, it gives the information that you are not the body, you are the spirit soul. And this spirit soul can experience the true happiness in connection with super soul, the Supreme Lord. And that process is the Bhakti Yoga. When you start practicing Bhakti Yoga, then you will experience that bliss. So this is a proposal. This is an offering. Try it. And then verify. So it makes sense. Okay, let me try this. And let me see if some transformation is coming, some change is coming. So this is how Bhagavad Gita is actually inviting us. Bhakti pareshanu bhavo viraktir anyatra shyat. Bhagavatam says when you do the bhakti, there are two things happens. One thing is internally you becomes very, very stable. Externally so many things might be going on, but internally you start becoming very stable. That's one. So this is bhakti pareshanu. So when you do the bhakti, you process the bhakti yoga, then you have the anubhuti, that experience of Ishvara. Some glimpses, some experience will be there, some satisfaction will be there, like that. And then also you become detached from the unreliable sources of happiness. This is the effect of this knowledge. We are so much dependent on externals. Oh, this car will make me happy. If I get one house, that will make me happy. If I get this boy or this girl in my life, this is the end of my life, like I'll be the most happiest person. So much of, unreliable sources of happiness. You become detached from that because you understand the real happiness comes with the connection with our original source. And that is what is the process of yoga. Right? So Bhagavad Gita is offering all these wonderful things, and we are happy to conduct these sessions on Gita and then discussing all these topics. In detail, it's just introduction. I'm just bringing all this concept and these ideas. We'll be systematically doing many courses. So let me pause here and see if anybody's any quick question or any comment before I announce for like what different programs that we have been thinking and planning for different group of people. Any questions? Anyone online or here in person? Yes. Krishna is only Ishwar. We said Ishwar, but in Bhagavad Gita you will understand who is Ishwar. When Krishna is talking, the first verse in Bhagavad Gita, he said, Shri Bhagavana Vacha. It is not said Shri Krishna Vacha or Shri Keshava Vacha. So it's very intelligently used those words, very thoughtfully, right? Because the author, he understands who is Ishwar. So he's saying Shri Bhagavana Vacha, first time when Krishna speaks. So that implies that who is Bhagavan? Krishna is speaking, like that. Okay. Any other questions, any other thought, those who are online? Okay, so if there's no questions, then no thought, then I think there's a lot of messages. I think people are putting, sorry, I'm not looking at those.
That's okay, Prabhu.
Okay, that's not for me, right?
That's not for you.
Okay. So some of you have been asking us like what program, when we are starting, and we already kind of started. It's like ongoing eternally. Bhagavad Gita is like that. But also, it is always helpful that we do some systematic course, and we are done. Some of you have already attended that earlier series of sessions, simplified, applied, and realized, and like that. And those who already qualified there, then there is a need to be a little dive deep into understanding Bhagavad Gita, and that is when we thought of doing this program called Sampurna Bhagavad Gita, wherein we'll be little going dive deep into like verse by verse study. So far what we have been discussing is like more of different concepts, different topics we are discussing, and then we are picking from everywhere and then explaining those topics. But now we are thinking of systematically studying verse by verse, chapter by chapter, the entire Bhagavad Gita, and which we are calling is Sampurna Bhagavad Gita. But with a lot of deliberation and discussion, we come to this conclusion that this Saturday evening session, we would like to keep only for the newcomers, which is like, it will be more of like short series, like many of you have already done, 6-session series, another 6-session series, which is more appealing to the newcomers. We ask them to, come for a long time, and they might be a little skeptical in the beginning. So we'll be repeating the same series again for the newcomers. We'll get the new batch again. But those who are existing, all of you and many of you are already existing group, for them, we'll be also opening another forum where we'll be discussing little deep discussions like detailed study. And that we'd like to offer on like online session 1 hour once in a week, which we are thinking on Saturday morning, 10 to 11 on the Zoom. That way also some of you will be forced to be little regulated on Saturday morning, not to wake up at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So 10 o'clock on Zoom, you all come. It will be like strict 1 hour discussion. So we'll just go chapter 1, verse after another, and like that. And then question answers. And then also there will be some little assignment for you. So there we expect you also to do something, not like Prabhuji will come and speak 1 hour and then we are all set. We are liberated already. So we want you also to take it more seriously, like that. We'll share more details. So this Saturday evening will be kept for the newcomers. But now question came that if people join only on Zoom online, like all of these people, they'll miss out the opportunity to come to temple on Saturday evening. So we thought about that also. So what we are saying is that you join the session on Zoom 10 to 11 in the morning, and still you come to the temple in the evening by 7 o'clock. So 6 to 7 we'll finish the session with the new batch, and then 7 o'clock we all be also introducing now to the new batch also. We'll all do the Aarti and Kirtan together. And then after that there will be Prasadam for everyone. So morning you join the session on Zoom 1 hour, the evening come, have darshan, attend the Kirtan, and then nourish yourself. It should not be just dry philosophy, but there should be some nice Kirtan, bhajan, discussions, meeting each other, that part also has to be there, and then we'll have prasadam together, and while having the prasadam we can just chit chat to each other and talk, and if you have any questions, and same thing will happen like that. So that's the approach. So we'll be sharing those details soon online, within hopefully in this week, and then you can all sign up based on where you think yourself the right fit. I think many of you are already covered all those basic sessions, so you will all qualify for Sampurna Bhagavad Gita, so you can join there. And those who are coming new, they can join the basics. So basics are like, we'll be doing in like 2 levels, basic and advanced, which is like 2 set of 6 sessions. 6 session initially just to give you the introduced to the all these concepts, and little advanced, and then you can also come into the Sampurna Bhagavad Gita gradually. So that might be a very systematic approach of pursuing all this course. Okay, anybody's any question or any comment on this? Okay, so if there's no question, then we can quickly chant 1 round of Hare Krishna mantra. Okay, so please repeat after me. And those who are coming first time, I'll just quickly introduce you how to chant. You are given the beats. So on the center beat, we'll be chanting one mantra, which is Panchatattva mantra. Repeat after me. And then we'll all be chanting Hare Krishna mantra together, which I think all you know. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this mantra should be chanted loud and clear. So let's start. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.